Today's rundown: activists target government buildings across Berlin in coordinated protests, European leaders plot digital independence from superpowers, dramatic SWAT response to a simple misunderstanding shakes Cologne, Congress moves to expose long-hidden documents that could implicate powerful figures, and a bizarre shipping incident that'll make you double-check every package. But here's what I'm saving for the end, the most revealing development about where global tensions are really heading. I spent years inside one of those big media companies, you know the type, where every story had to fit the approved narrative. I watched how facts got twisted, how inconvenient truths got buried, and one day I just walked out. Now I'm here, independent, answering to nobody but you, bringing you what actually matters without the corporate filter. Look, I know you've got countless channels competing for your attention right now, but here's why this one's different. We fact-check everything. We don't peddle conspiracy theories or sensationalism. We just connect the dots that others won't touch. If this kind of honest analysis matters to you, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and yes, consider sponsoring this channel. This isn't easy work, digging through the propaganda from all sides, and your support literally keeps the truth flowing. And trust me, what I've uncovered about today's events, especially that last piece, you'll want to hear every word. So Berlin erupted yesterday, and not in the way you might expect. Two pro-Palestinian activists didn't just protest, they took buckets of red paint and splashed them across the Federal Chancellery building itself. Think about that symbolism for a moment, the seat of German power, dripping red. Police moved fast, arrested them, then released them with criminal charges pending. They carried Palestinian flags and banners condemning what they called ongoing atrocities. By noon the paint was gone, but the message? That's still reverberating through German politics. But wait, because this gets more intense. Almost simultaneously, masked figures stormed a hotel where Defense Minister Boris Pistorius was speaking at a defense conference about weapons production. They dumped more red paint at the entrance, scattered leaflets across sidewalks and subway tunnels. A radical leftist portal already claimed responsibility. And here's where it gets interesting. This wasn't random vandalism. This was coordinated messaging about Germany's military-industrial complex. And if you think that's concerning, listen to what happened next in those same Berlin subway tunnels. Deep in the night, German soldiers conducted exercises they're calling Berlin Bastion. Picture this: troops training for urban warfare scenarios, practicing counterinsurgency tactics, detaining enemies, evacuating wounded, all in the metro system civilians use every day. The battalion commander's words should chill you. What's happening 900 kilometers east of us is reality. We must be ready. He wouldn't say if it'll reach Germany, but they're preparing like it will. Now here's where things shift from street-level protests to the highest corridors of power, and you need to understand how massive this really is. Chancellor Friedrich Merz and President Emmanuel Macron stood together at a digital summit declaring Europe must break free from both American and Chinese technology dependence. 20 European nations were represented, major corporations listening intently as Macron dropped this bombshell. European children spend 4 to 5 hours daily on platforms controlled by American or Chinese companies who, and I quote, don't necessarily care about European well-being. Think about what that means. Europe's two most powerful leaders essentially admitting their continent has become a digital colony, a pawn between superpowers. Merz went further, citing American cloud service outages and Chinese chip shortages as proof of dangerous dependency. They're now pushing regulations on American cloud providers and announcing joint Franco-German digital procurement guidelines. Translation? Europe's about to start building walls around its digital infrastructure. But here's the part that'll affect real people immediately. Germany's government this week plans legislation fundamentally changing how Ukrainian refugees receive support. No more citizen-level social benefits. New arrivals get shifted to asylum seeker assistance with mandatory job searching requirements. Miss your employment obligations? Benefits get cut. Have significant assets? You'll need to exhaust those first before receiving any help. The Interior Ministry's message is crystal clear. The free ride is over. Meanwhile in Cologne, and this is almost surreal, a single woman firing what turned out to be blank rounds triggered a response you'd expect for a major incident. Streets sealed off, dozens of officers deployed, helicopters circling overhead, SWAT teams ultimately storming the building. They found a 46-year-old woman and a pistol that only fires blanks. She's now in custody, facing serious charges, all because neighbors heard what they thought were real shots. Makes you wonder about the state of tension when blank rounds bring out the cavalry. Let me shift to something that's been simmering in shadows for years, but just burst into daylight. The U.S. House of Representatives, with an overwhelming 427-1 vote, Republicans and Democrats united, just passed legislation forcing the Justice Department to release everything, and I mean everything, related to the Epstein case. Only one congressman voted against transparency. Think about that ratio for a second. Now it heads to the Senate, then to Trump's desk, and he's already promised to sign it. Speaker Mike Johnson claims Democrats are weaponizing this to distract from their failures, desperately trying to link Trump to the scandal. Trump's response? I have nothing to hide. We're potentially weeks away from documents that could expose networks of power that operated in darkness for decades. The fact that only one person voted against this tells you how toxic keeping these secrets has become. Speaking of Trump, he just admitted something fascinating about the Ukraine situation. He said he's ended other conflicts, but this one's taking longer than expected. His exact words suggest he's encountering serious resistance from multiple directions. Not surprising when you consider the interests at stake, the weapons contracts, the geopolitical chess moves, the energy markets, but he insists he won't stop pushing for resolution. And because we need something to remind us that life isn't all geopolitical crisis and institutional collapse, let me leave you with this gem from Bavaria. A woman accidentally mailed her cat. No, really. The curious feline crawled into a package, fell asleep, and got sealed inside. The owner delivered it to the post office completely unaware. Only when workers heard muffling mewing from inside the sealed box did anyone realize what happened. Police opened it. Cat was fine. Returned home probably wondering what strange adventure that was. Sometimes even in these dark times, absurdity breaks through. So here we are. European capitals seeing coordinated protests while soldiers trained for urban warfare in subway tunnels. Continental leaders admitting they've lost digital sovereignty while changing refugee policies to stem the flow. A blank pistol triggering military-level responses while Congress unanimously demands transparency on crimes of the powerful. Trump struggling against unseen forces to end a conflict while someone in Bavaria proves that even in 2025 you can accidentally ship a living creature through the postal service. This is the world we're navigating, where symbolic protests meet real preparations for conflict, where digital independence becomes the new sovereignty, where decades of secrets might finally see daylight. If this analysis helps you make sense of the chaos, like and subscribe. And seriously, if you value independent journalism that connects these dots without agenda or corporate oversight, consider sponsoring this channel. Tomorrow brings more revelations, more connections, more truth they don't want examined. The patterns are accelerating and you deserve to see them clearly. Listen, I need to have a real moment with you here. Every single day I spend hours, sometimes entire nights, cross-referencing sources, verifying claims, and digging through mountains of propaganda from every angle imaginable. You know what's exhausting? It's not the long hours or the complex geopolitics. It's seeing how much deliberate misinformation floods the internet every minute, designed to confuse you, to make you angry at the wrong people, to keep you from understanding what's really happening to our world. That's why this channel exists. Not for clickbait headlines or sensational fear-mongering, but for truth. Raw, fact-checked, verified truth. When I tell you something happened, it's because I've confirmed it through multiple sources. When I connect dots between events, it's based on evidence, not conspiracy theories. This kind of rigorous journalism takes resources, time, and honestly, it takes courage to publish findings that powerful interests don't want exposed. If this matters to you, if you're tired of being manipulated by fake news from all sides, then please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and if you can, consider sponsoring this channel. Your support doesn't just keep me going, it keeps independent, fact-based journalism alive when the world desperately needs it. We're building something important here together, you and I, something honest, something real.